huge series win. First series win in LSU 11 years?
2011.
Yeah. Wow.
Auburn got a lot of LSU monkeys off their back this athletic season between football, between baseball, even basketball. Just
stealing future lottery picks. Big year for Auburn over LSU.
Yeah, and the thing about this weekend is these games were closely contested, and they were two of the three of them were very dramatic at the end. Auburn wins 6-5 on Thursday, this is game 1. They win 6-4 on Saturday's game 3. They lose 9-2 on Friday's game 2. And I love a Thursday through Saturday series. I know the whole Friday night in the SEC thing, but I love a good Thursday through Saturday.
I like it too. Yeah,
we've got a couple more of these coming up, and I'm a fan of the Thursday through Saturday. Obviously, you can't have them all day that way, but I like those. But the big thing for me, the big takeaway, and I wrote all about the series at auburndaily.com. That's up now, so go check that out. But the big thing for me is in every game, just about, Auburn was placed into a couple different situations where last year's team, you saw that was kind of the moment where the game slipped away. And they were faced with an opportunity to lose that game, whether it was they were down on offense and they had to rally, whether it was they had a lead and runners got on and were going to the bullpen. And just about every time, Auburn answered the call. And Butch even talked about that after the game. He's like, we built some confidence. We absolutely gained something from this because it was a tough stretch and the guys battled and won a series on the road, which is not easy to do.
Right. Who stood out to you throughout this? Let's start with the pitching staff before you just blurt out Sonny DiChiara. Let's talk about the pitching staff for a second first. Who impressed you?
So I talked about him a lot on the show, but Joseph Gonzalez, him and Blake Burkhalter were the two guys that stood out to me. So Joseph Gonzalez misses 2 weekend series because of the whole blister on his throwing hand thing.
Right.
Makes his first start in 3 weekends and 7 2/3 innings. What I love is you can tell that a sinker baller's stuff is working when it takes him a while to get that first strikeout. His first strikeout comes after 5 1/3 innings because he's just getting ground out after ground out after ground out. So he held LSU to 3 runs. It was the second longest outing of his career, but just an absolute masterclass for him as far as ball location, as far as placement, and really that's the best that we've seen him look this entire season. I'm not going to say we should pull everybody out of the rotation for 2 weeks, but that's something where when his sinker is on, it becomes very, very difficult to get multiple runs out of him in an inning. And it all comes down to the defense, and provided you can position correctly, we saw Auburn shift more than they usually do. Provided you can position correctly, you can steal a lot of outs against a good hitting team, especially a team with a lot of power like LSU has. And then the other guy was Blake Burkhalter.
I was about to ask you about him.
Yeah, he was the other one, both Thursday and Saturday. Both of them were at least 2 innings. He actually leads the SEC in saves by 2.
Love that.
Yeah, he got a win or a save in 9 of his 12 appearances on the year. But no, throws 4 1/3 innings, gives up a total of 3 hits, 5 strikeouts. And just the man has a ton of fastballs. He threw a 4-seam fastball. He threw a 2-seam fastball. He threw a cutter. He threw a splitter. Just tons of fastballs and really kind of flummoxed. And then showed a lot of confidence and just ability to throw 2+ innings on Thursday and come back out and do it again on Saturday, especially coming in a game where there were runners on and inheriting that situation and not letting them score.
Yeah. No, he was fun to watch, man. He's he stood out to me for sure. All right, let's talk offense. Sonny DiChiara. How good of a season is he having right now?
Oh, the thick king. Listen.
Holy crap, man. That guy he makes it look so stinking easy. It looks like he barely hits it on that home run, and it never landed. It was
that ball's still in the air. They actually, so the analytics people at LSU, and credit to them because they didn't have to do this. They pulled all of the stuff on the home run. And if the batter's eye was not there, that would have been the longest home run at Alex Box Stadium. If it wasn't for the fact that it hit the batter's eye. Yes.
Wow.
So no, just, I mean, he is leading the country in on base percentage. He is top, not kidding. He is top. Yeah, he is top 5 in slugging, and average. He went 500 last week. He played in 3 games plus the midweek, and he went 500. So 7 of 14, and he was walked 6 times.
That's crazy.
Last week. It's just, I mean, and then game 3, obviously the one where it mattered, the only game where they really pitched to him. Because LSU made a concerted effort to pitch around him. He got intentionally walked multiple times over the weekend, or he'd get up there and he'd walk on 5 pitches and none of them were particularly close.
Right.
Game 3, 4 hits, a double, home run, 3 RBIs. So he did really well. I do have to give some credit to leadoff hitter Blake.
Real quick before we move away from Sonny,
yeah.
I'm going to ask you to put on your MLB prospects host hat on. Where, I mean, is he has to be getting more and more attractive to MLB clubs. He has to be, right? I mean, he's doing it in the conference.
Yeah. So, and that was kind of the question, was he had done it at a lower level. He had done it against non-con competition. He's doing it now in conference. A little bit more strikeouts in conference, but he's somebody, he's going to grade positively both his hit tool and his power tool. Defense, he's going to be considered average to above average. We haven't seen enough of his arm to really say anything. He's going to get downgraded on his speed, but if you can have at least 2 above average or better tools, and both his hit tool and his power tool are above average, if not plus, then you're at the point where you have, an MLB organization will pick you up. Now, where in the draft that happens, I'm not quite sure as of yet. And I do think his future when it comes to MLB is helped by them having a universal DH, but it is really going to be contingent on defensively. Can he show enough to play at in the minors and majors at first versus being stuck only as a DH? But he is getting more attention. I do expect to see him. Some mock drafts usually start coming out right around, mid-April or so. And I expect to see him in some deeper mock drafts.
Yep. And you'll have all those mocks, I'm sure, at Locked On MLB Prospects. I'm sure you'll talk about a lot of them. All right. You're about to go to Blake Rambush. Is that right?
Yes. Blake Rambush, unfortunately, had his hitting streak broken on Saturday's game 3, but 17 games was the hitting streak, the longest by an Auburn player in the last 6 years. He has 15 multi-hit games this season, including what was it? He had 9 in that 16 games.
Who did he break in the last 6 seasons? Jonah Todd?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Broke Jonah Todd. But he had reached base in 26 straight games. And if you go back to his previous school, Grayson College, he has reached 85 in the last 86. The man does nothing but get on base. Blake Rambush will get on base.
Yeah. That's exciting. So moving forward, obviously this weekend, Vanderbilt comes to town. And it's essentially you're playing a double or triple A team. I mean, it's just loaded with future MLB guys. So what does Auburn need to do to win 2 out of 3 in this one? Okay.
So kind of like they did at LSU, what Auburn needs is they need the starting pitching like they did on Friday and on Thursday and Saturday. They need the starting pitching to keep them in it. But the difference is they also need the starting pitching to go deep enough where they don't have to use 4 guys out of the bullpen. Skipper and Burkhalter were the only guys they called on Thursday. They didn't, they used them again on Saturday. Friday, when they did not have those guys available, that's where they struggled. And it's because on Thursday, you had to cover 5 innings with those 2 guys. So if your starting pitchers can give you the same quality start, keep giving us quality starts, but just instead of coming out in the 4th or coming out in the 5th, come out in the 6th. Get us to the 6th inning, maybe even the 7th. And that's going to give us the ability, if you can do that with a quality start, which is 3 runs or less, Auburn has a chance to go. The thing with this Auburn offense, and I'm still waiting to see, is they don't have a ton of power threats outside of Sonny. So Auburn has to rely on stringing together hits and playing station to station. And
Right.
I don't know how that's going to go against Vanderbilt's team. They're a lot better defense than LSU was. And so the game plan against LSU was put the ball in play, make them make a play on a ball, which they could not do repeatedly over the weekend. Vanderbilt fundamentally is a lot better on defense. And so can Auburn's strategy of put the ball in play, make them make a play, is that going to hold up against Vanderbilt? That's going to be the deciding factor of the series.